We're going to be using the sentiments again as kind of a focal point of this card. What we need to do, you'll notice that we have a card base. Again, that is Flirty Flamingo. We need to have a card base, and the dimensions are listed below. We have our card base. Now, if you remember from one of the cards, we had cut apart the old olive. We need that piece reserved, and we're going to be using that on here. You'll notice that we also have the multitude of sentiments, so we're going to be using them from this pack here. We're going to pop them out. When you have these are roughly about 2 inches. What we want to do is one of the sentiments we are going to be using as a little frame. So I pulled up a really old punch that has kind of like these little scalloped edges, or if you have any circles dies that fit on this that are a little larger, you want to have some kind of framing around it. So take a look at that. Again, we're using the Hollyhocks with the frame, which is right there. We're going to be placing that on. And you'll notice you can barely see, because it is the same color as the old olive, we need some of these leaf kind of ephemera pop-outs from there. So those are the items that we're going to be using to create this card. Okay, let's place this off to the side. Let's start creating our card base. This is the only portion really that we need the trimmer, other than trimming down the old olive. So card base 5.5 by 4 1/4, and we are just going to score it at 4 1/4. There we go. So that has created our card base. Now remember that old olive piece green? We need to cut this down again to 4 inches. I'm going to cut that down to 4 inches. Now remember, when you're cutting, to cut off the portion that, if it does have a score line on it, you're going to be wanting to cut that off. So that was 4 inches by 5 1/4. And we need to make that so it sits nicely on the card base. So if we bring back in our card base, that sits right on top. And now what I'm going to do is actually, so I don't lose anything, I am actually just going to glue that down. I don't know about you. I put something down and I will lose it immediately. Again, the art of Picasso in adhesive. I have that on here. Place that on. Here we go. A nice frame all the way around. Okay. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to take my sentiments and I'm going to pop them out. And I'm just going to use all 4 of them. Okay. Even though they are in different languages, that's okay. But I'm going to reserve the one that I want to stand out the most. So Thinking of You is the one I want to stand out. So what I'm going to do is kind of move them around, just kind of so they're like this. The reason I do that, I'm going to take this Thinking of You and actually put it off to the side, because that's the one I'm going to be using. The reason I laid these out first, because they go down first, and I'm going to be taking the ephemera pack again, popping out this Hollyhock with the frame, and I'm going to lay it down. And I want to make sure that these sentiments will kind of peek through. You don't really have to truly see all the words, but I want you to know that they're there. And I'm going to be placing this one kind of off to the side. So I can kind of move this one down a little bit. And I want it to kind of overlap on the frame part. So I have them kind of figured out roughly where I want to place it. Let's take that frame and that sentiment away. And I'm going to glue those straight down. These will not be on dimensionals because I don't want them popped out, because they are not the focus of what the sentiment is. So I'm going to lay this down. Again, I want a little bit of green on the top and the right side. I don't want it kind of overhanging too much. There we go. This one again, there's a little bit of green and on the side. Now I know my sentiment is going to sit here, so I can tuck this one up a little tighter to the top one. Go. It's tucked in a little bit tighter. I might even have it overlapping. That's okay. Again, we're going to be taking our frame, but before we get our frame, remember those pieces of ephemera green? What we can do is pop a couple of them out. Now, this is Pretty Peacock. Let's see what happens when I use the Pretty Peacock. So there is a darker color. In my original card, I only used just the green, so I'm going to pop these out. I might just add both colors in. I don't know. So I'm going to just lay that down, and this one kind of on top. And let's lay that on. Actually, you know what? I think I kind of like that little bit of the darker peacock coming out. Let's kind of move these around. Before you glue anything down, always make sure that you kind of move things around for the way that you like it. I think I like that. Before I glue it down, I got to make sure that these pieces are hidden behind the hollyhock. Now, right now, these are totally hidden behind the hollyhock, and that's not what I want to do. I'm going to take these out, and because I can still use some of these, I'm going to pull them apart. Right? I'm going to reserve this for a little piece, but I want to get more of the sprig because I'm going to have those peeking out further. I can use these further down. I'm going to take these and let's splay them like that. And I want them to kind of overlap over here. Now, if I have them like that, I want to double check, see where my hollyhocks are coming out, and kind of maneuver them around there. So don't forget, the mechanics of this have to hide behind the hollyhocks. So got that going like that. That looks pretty cool. What I'm going to do is I can see that they are going to lay right behind this hollyhock right here. I'm going to take them and I'm going to get a little bit of glue. I just want to touch the glue on just to lay them down. Again, I'm going to splay the hollyhock. That one was going straight up. Oh, let's go like that. Bring it up a little bit. And I can see that I can get this piece in here with a dimensional to kind of anchor that. And that is exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to anchor that one right there. And again, I want to make sure that this is well secured. Let's add a dimensional right there. Let's start building this up. Here we go. Again, we can add our dimensionals, our tiny little dimensionals, into the corner there. We want to secure those corners. Now the tiny little dimensionals comes with the kit, so this works out really well. So if you don't have any, this works out really well. It's just got to be careful on how we place them, just so that they don't kind of pop up. So we have our greenery. It is just barely peaking, and it's a little high, so you know what? We can bring this down a little bit. It's all about wiggling on where it is. Bring this down, and I'm actually going to angle it a little bit more, just like that. Again, hiding our mechanics of, ooh, now I want it higher. There we go. I want it higher, but I don't want it too high. Does that make sense? There we go. I'm going to have that nice and even. Oh, there's a little bit of a dimensional peeking out. I can shove that over, stick it on there. There we go. There we go. I got these little pieces left over. I guess I could always take them so they go under the other sentiment, which I might do. That actually might be a good idea. What I want to do is I'm going to find a piece of Flirty Flamingo, and I'm going to die cut or punch out a circle that's going to make a frame. Now this is a very old punch, so just bear with me. Again, laying that on top, and I'm going to glue that down. I'm going to glue the sentiment down onto that little mat. There we go. But before I glue this onto the card, remember we had these tiny little pieces? I'm going to have them so that they're kind of coming out from the bottom. Again, I'm just going to stick a little dimensional on there just to hold it. Where can I place this one? This one needs to go there too. Let's just pop him right there. Oh, I guess it would help if I took the backings off. That would make it more stickier. There's a tip for you. Take the backings of the dimensional off to make them stickier. There we go. Okay. And I'm just going to pop that on there. Oh, that looks fantastic. Again, adding some Wink of Stella to those hollyhocks. There we go. I think that turned out really nice. I like the little bit extra. I like that darker pretty peacock than compared to this one. It does make it stand out a little bit more. And again, make sure that it is flush with the card so that when you put it in, it won't get lost. Oh, we need our embellishments. Toss a couple on. Don't want to overpower it too much. There we go. I just put a couple on there like that. There we go. And there's our two cards. So there's the one with the pretty peacock, and that one is the original one with just the green. So there you go. There is another card to create. Very super simple.